Do you want to know how to limit screen time for teens? You're not alone. I am Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about limiting screen time for teens. In this video, we're going to be talking about why we should be concerned about screens and teens, and what we can do to create a culture where our teens don't feel so dependent upon their screens. I know that when I make a video about screens and teens, automatically, right at the very beginning, there's going to be a whole bunch of teens that are going to do hate comments below, like, this is no good, I don't like this, we need our phones, it's good for my mental health, or whatever. And I know that there's a lot of people that have opinions about screens and what role they should play in our lives, but we cannot deny that we are still very much in a trial period on this social experiment where everyone is carrying around screens in their pocket. What is really going to happen to our mental health? What's really going to happen to our social health and our emotional health? What's going to happen to our communities and the relationships that we have? Are they going to be helped or hurt? We call things social media. Is it really improving our social, or is it hurting? I think now we're at a stage in the game, in this experiment, that we know there are a lot of dangers with screens. We know that they hurt the brains. We know that there's things with social media and gaming and addictions and just even scrolling that change the processing in our brains, that change our functioning and our ability to even solve our problems. We become more passive, we become more disconnected. Oftentimes we become more emotional, sometimes even more hopeless as we see things around us online. There's a voyeurism that the majority of the world is engaging in as they are watching other people live their lives on YouTube and on social media and different movies and things that you can see on screens, where they are feeling more and more disconnected with reality and creating good relationships themselves. This is going to be very detrimental to our society. There are some societies who really let out in giving all children and teens phones, and now they are pulling back. Some of the Scandinavian countries are saying, nope, we are not doing that anymore. Those teens need to not have this. It's bad for their mental health. We've got to do something about it. There are a lot of people, even mental health professionals, that are absolutely intimidated and afraid of even speaking up about removing a child's cell phone or something like that, because they don't want to ever be the cause of a person potentially causing any self-harm to themselves. That's right. There are a lot of people who use this threat of self-harm to justify why all teens need to have devices all of the time. And because of this, the teens are pushing back even harder on their parents with some really drastic statements, and sometimes even doctors and mental health professionals are afraid to step in and empower the parent and say, no, we need to limit this, we need to remove this. In fact, if anything, they are saying limit. They're not saying remove. And that's because some people believe that the child might be somehow isolated socially if it's completely removed, but the child doesn't even want it limited because they feel like they'll be isolated socially if it's limited, when in reality they might find the freedom and the connection with other people that they absolutely need. The struggle that we run into while we're raising teenagers in this screen culture is that so much of the teenage life is now wrapped up in screens. Even the school assignments and those types of things at the public schools are oftentimes on screens, so that the teen actually feels like if you're going to take them away from that, that you're removing their life and that you're removing their friends, even though, They may not even have really deep friendships with any of those people. It might just be people that they watch, but it's someone that they feel like they have a connection to. So what do you do if you're going to limit screen time or remove it altogether, which I do highly recommend? If you've subscribed to this channel already, you've seen some of my other videos about screens and phones and children and teens. And I've probably mentioned that I did a full training a few years ago called Parenting in a Tech Sexual World. There are some great skill sets on that training, which was a full day training, like a 7-hour training about parenting in a tech sexual world that you can find at teachingselfgovernment.com. Those skill sets are going to be very helpful to you. If you are going to be removing screens or anything that's an addiction, you have to replace it with something. The way that we form habits is with triggers. So we have certain triggers that we create for ourselves that lead to certain habits. If a person has a habit to thinking about a screen, then that means there's a trigger there somewhere that they need to find, and they need to trigger towards something else. So maybe once they start thinking about a screen or seeing what somebody's doing on a screen, the new habit associated with that trigger is going to be to come talk to mom or dad. Usually one of the best things that you can do to fill in the void of the habit that you're trying to remove and to create a new habit is to replace it with a live person, because that live person is someone that you can also be held accountable to. They can help you and even bring themselves to the table more often to help you have somebody else to communicate with. Just because you take the screens away for a period of time doesn't mean they need to always go away. There are ways that you can introduce them back again. I talk about that when I talk about family standards. I think there might be a video here on the channel. If not, you can find more information at teachingselfgovernment.com about family standards as well. Anyway, making sure that you insert the parent relationship as that new thing that they're going to have. If you try to have them do something isolated on their own to solve the addiction problem, it might lead to another addiction, another issue, because they are too isolated. Anyway, try to be there for them as they overcome this old habit. There are skills you can teach your children that can help them with changing habits too. Probably the primary skill that comes to mind for me first is one of the 4 basic skills called accepting no answers. So when a person accepts a no answer, they do 4 things. They look at the person or the situation, they keep a calm face, voice, and body, then they say okay, or they ask to disagree appropriately, and then they drop the subject. Now that's a tricky one. Drop the subject. That means that they can't sit and think about it again and again and ruminate on it and think about how they can't do it and can't do it. They need to move on to something else. And this is different than just distracting yourself. This is deliberately saying, you know what? I'm going to go and get some exercise. You know what? I am going to go and talk to mom, or I'm going to ask mom to play a game. We are going to deliberately do something else so that I don't spend my time thinking about this thing, this screen anymore. So learning how to accept a no answer is huge. There are so many no answers in life, not just related to screens. But for you too, as the parent, as the adult, you have to give yourself no answers for screens as well. In fact, that's probably one of the biggest things that you can do, is set the example that life is more than just the screens. Turn your screens off too when you are around the family. Set certain times so that you know that your screens are not going to be used. Because when they see you engaging with them and wanting to be with them, their life suddenly becomes that much more exciting. Make plans together. Have family meetings where you discuss things and activities that you want to do together, and set regular times to do those activities. That's also going to decrease some of that screen time. It's okay to give no answers about screens. It's okay. It's okay to say no screens at dinner. It's okay to say no screens after 8 p.m. It's okay to say no screens in your bedroom at night. It's okay to say you don't get a screen until you're self-governing and you're 16. It's okay. You don't have to do the same thing as everybody else, but one thing you will want to do is explain to your child why. Let them know why you're making the change. One of the most simple ways that I explained it to my children was this: if you can't govern the device, it will govern you. it will take over. It will create cravings and suggestions and try to get you to do things. You have to be strong enough to self-govern it. So we are going to work on accepting no answers. Then we'll talk about when we're ready to introduce the screens again. There are more skills to self-government. You're probably going to want to learn them all. There's a full-length class here on this channel that you'll want to watch next. It's called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. Click on the link to that video now. I'll see you there.